On December 23rd, 2024, we got rumors that Universal Orlando had filed a permit with the South Florida Water Management District to remove the ride Rip Ride Rockit. And on December 26th, Universal officially confirmed. Let's talk about that. Before I do, if you're new to the channel, hey, welcome to Coasters and Travels, where I talk about roller coasters, theme parks, and travels. If that sounds good to you, please consider subscribing. And while you're here, please like the video. It's free and it helps the channel greatly. Now, this is how you announce a ride closure. On December 26, 2024, Universal confirmed that Rip Ride Rockit will close in early September 2025 to make way for a new experience, and then more details will be available at a later date. Thanks to Tea Time on the Lift Hill, they asked a question about do they have a closing date, because of course us coaster enthusiasts got the news that Universal filed a permit for them to close the ride. So I'm so glad that Universal Orlando promptly gave a response to ease our concerns and whatnot, and such a long timeline for the ride to close. So that means you have all the way up to September of 2025 to make plans. Now that is awesome. I'm glad that Universal is not doing what Six Flags is doing. They're letting us know rides are closing way well in advance, so that's awesome. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are not fans of the ride, but I guarantee you there are some that are, and they greatly appreciate Universal Orlando for giving us the heads up super early. My thoughts on Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit. So I finally rode it for the first time this year, and I liked it. I may be one of the few people that actually likes Rip Ride Rockit, but here's the thing though, I only rode it once, and I only rode it in the middle, like in the car, the middle row. So I did not have a wheel seat. So I don't know if that was the case of me liking it, because I thought it was great. The only thing I didn't like about Rip Ride Rockit is the first drop, because when you look at it, it looks like it's gonna be, you know, good hang time, good air time, all that stuff. But it has a trim, like right at the apex of the, right at the front of the drop, there's a trim, and it's like, oh my God, it kind of kills it. It reminds me of the trim on what's that roller coaster in Alabama? RCDB. What's the name of that damn ride? Rolling Thunder. It reminds me a lot of Rolling Thunder, where the drop looks like it's gonna hit, but again, there's a trim there what kind of ruins it. But besides that, the only other bad thing about Rip Ride Rockit is the many trims, but that ride got some forces, man. That ride got some pretty good G-forces. Another negative is that the music wasn't working on my car at all. So I know it's supposed to have music and stuff, but mine didn't. So that was crazy, but I didn't really care. I just wanted to get my credit and be done with it. I can kind of get the vision they were trying to do with this ride. This ride got a lot of G-forces, a lot of block brakes, but again, I didn't have an issue with the ride. It felt comfortable. I know it feels weird to say that, but it didn't feel rough or bumpy when I rode it. Now, again, I rode a middle seat, and that probably kind of altered how I think about it, because I know a lot of people do not like this ride at all. They think it's rough. They think it's, you know, it's pointless, and it's definitely not my favorite at Universal Studios. Like when you combine Islands of Adventure and the Universal Studios, it's definitely not my favorite coaster at all. I like it more than the Trollo coaster, so there's that, but I don't think I like it more than the Mummy. I think the Mummy is the best coaster right now at the Universal Studios side of Universal Orlando. I've been hearing different possible replacements of Rip Ride Rockit, and one of them is called the vertical lunge coaster that Intamin makes. This is a definite possibility, because looking at some of the examples they have, the layout is very thin, very similar to Rip Ride Rockit layout. So I can definitely see them doing something like this. Although it probably would be a little too similar to Velocicoaster. They can do things to make things different, but I can definitely see them doing this model. I can't really think of anything else they can do to that space, because that space is very thin. I mean, they could add something like a hyper coaster, but the issue is you have Mako over at SeaWorld Orlando, and then you have Stardust Racers, or Stardust Racers over at Epic Universe, which is going to be a dueling hyper coaster. I don't know if it's going to be like 200 feet or so, but it still has that hyper coaster feel. So I feel like anything they do hypercoaster wise, or even doing like the vertical launch coaster, I feel like it's going to be maybe too redundant. But I have faith in Universal that they're going to figure something out and you know, have like an epic good ride there, because I feel like Universal Studios deserve it, because Epic Universe and Islands of Adventure got pretty good roller coasters, and it's about time that Universal Studios stepped that up. So looking forward to the news and what they're going to add to this space. And yeah, RIP Rip Ride Rockit, even though you still have a lot of time to ride it now. If you are a fan of the ride, I definitely advise you to make plans now to go to Universal Studios Florida and get your last rides. But you have all the way until September 2025, so you got a lot of time. So it's awesome that Universal Studios gave us this much time to give our last rides, and to give time people to actually plan and, you know, go there and get their last ride. So that's pretty awesome of them. Unfortunately, Six Flags is not following that suit, but at the same time, they're a brand new company, and I can kind of understand why they're not saying anything. I kind of explained it in my last video. But yeah, I'm just glad that Universal Orlando is not going in that direction of Six Flags when it comes to announcing things. So that's pretty much my thoughts about the ride and how Universal Studios is handling it. Let me know in the comments what you think about Rip Ride Rockit. Have you ridden it? What's your thoughts about it and how you feel about it closing? All right, that's it for now. And until then, I'll see you next time.